All right. So can you maybe begin by introducing your club and what your club does in general?
Yeah, so we're the officers of Read Bhutan. The main focus of Read Bhutan is to catalyze rural prosperity in Bhutanese communities through improving literacy rates among women and children. And we mainly work to do this through bi-weekly Skype sessions. We have our interim trips to the villages of Ha and Punaka, and we also try to host fundraisers and galas throughout the year.
And how often do you meet as a chapter?
We meet once a week, every Wednesdays, and I think that's about it.
And what's expected of me as a member?
I think we want you to be willing to help, like when we have fundraisers or galas, for you to be able to take the time and help us either like run a stand or like promote the gala, but then also for you to attend some Skype sessions. We don't expect you to be at every single Skype session, but for you to be there as much as you can or as much as you want.
Another thing we like to do in terms of that is split off our members into committees. So get members involved through that and make them each have a role in our club.
Yeah, that sounds. So speaking of committees, what are the committees and what's expected of the members in those committees?
Annie, go ahead.
Okay, so we're pretty flexible in terms of moving our committees around, especially with COVID. But when bigger events come up like gala planning, we like to split in very specific committees like marketing and planning, like location and stuff like that, logistics. But throughout the year, we like to work together a little bit more so everyone can be fully engaged and they can kind of come and help us with whatever event might interest them more. So if we have a club fair coming up, and that's something that really sparks their interest, they can kind of help more and headstrong that specific event.
And we definitely like to use everyone's different talents they have, whether that be photography, design, sports, just in case we can auction off, for example, tutoring systems in our gala.
Yeah.
And for like our meetings, we try to be very transparent with our members and we tell them like our plans. And so if any of them have a suggestion or they want to help us, like we try to really give the opportunities for the members to participate as much as they can and as much as they want to.
So you mentioned the gala a few times, which sounds awesome. So what fundraisers do you have planned in general, right? If you can elaborate on the gala as well.
Yeah, so well, aside from our gala, which we've been planning for a while and we've held some in the past, we do our annual literacy week, and where we partner with other literacy clubs at SAS, like She's the First, which also helps with women, and we usually raise money through various activities with that. And we also have our International Women's Month, which is second semester, where we also have an aspect of fundraising.
What do you guys do on the Skype call? Like, what's the goal of the Skype calls?
Yeah, so it's mostly to interact and practice English with the women and children at the center. Typically, it's the older women, at least when you do the Skype sessions during the week at the Timpu Center. But we're working on developing a more structured curriculum. But as of now, it's just practicing English skills because their English is, it really depends on who we get the call with and who we're on call with. But just like going back and forth and conversing.
Great. Can you maybe elaborate on, why you joined this club, or why this cause is really important to you?
Sure, I'll go first. Well, since a young age, I've always loved to read books, and I just thought that by joining Read Bhutan, I could share my love for reading with our Bhutanese friends. And it's been really rewarding so far, and it's been a nice whirlwind for me.
I think like we're in a very lucky position to be able to like Skype these women. And like for me, that's my favorite part, just to have kind of the direct connection with these women and children. Like Renee, I love to read, but I also think like we are in such a lucky place to have the education and the opportunities we have. And I think for us, like selfishly, it's very rewarding to be able to give back and kind of like help other people maybe reach the caliber of education that we have in some way, shape, or form.
For me, I was fortunate enough to go on the interim trip to Ha my freshman year. And I think it was after getting to interact with the women and children in person, there was something really so special about that. And I wasn't as much involved with the club before going on the interim trip. I was just really lucky to get the spot. But afterwards, I wanted to be involved as much as I could. So I ran for officer position and I showed up to all the meetings, and I've just loved it ever since.
For me, when I first moved here, I was looking for a club that was something where I could directly see what I was working with. So when we did the Skype calls, that was an example of that. Other clubs, they do a lot of fundraisers and then indirectly give the money and stuff, which is wonderful. And I realize that not everyone has the opportunity to do something like the Skype calls. So that was really intriguing to me. And I've always believed that education is really the answer for many of our problems. And so being able to spread my love for and fortunate opportunities in terms of education is really valuable and exciting.
I'm curious about the interim trip. What do you guys do on the interim trip?
Yeah, so there are two different, read centers that we visit. So there's one in Thimphu, and then the other one's in Ha, and then there's another trip that goes to Punakha. So last year we were supposed to have 2 trips, but my year, when I went, we only had 1 trip. But essentially what we do is we go to these read centers and then we design a curriculum, and we kind of have like different groups. Like some groups may be doing reading sessions with the women and children, other groups may be doing like crafts and games. So there's a variety of things. We kind of filter to what the read center wants and needs at that point of time, and we ask them what they really want help with. And we do that.
And definitely this year, if we do have the opportunity to go back for interim, we are definitely looking into catering for their needs, especially in regards to COVID recovery. And we've actually video called them, the director of Read Bhutan and the person who's on the ground there. And so we've got information and we've researched, so we're ready to do some fundraising this year.
What was your favorite memory with Read Bhutan?
I think for me, it was like our first Skype call, because I came in new this year as a junior, and to be able to like sit with like freshmen and sophomores and seniors and everyone kind of just crowd around like this computer and just like work through broken English and like try to adapt to what like the person on the other end of the call knew. That was just really fun and like a very much of like team building kind of opportunity that you usually don't find.
Was there anything else that you guys wanted to maybe say that you didn't get to say? Anything like that?
I think just like adding, because we don't know like this year if we'll have interim, but that doesn't mean like you shouldn't, or you should be disincentivized to join, because we're still going to be doing a lot of work like with the clubs, and we're lucky enough to have Skype calls, and so we can like do many things virtually. So even if you can't go on the trip, there's still a lot you can do with the club